Hello everyone, and welcome back to the second part of the playthrough. We left off at World 1, and we just collected a bunch of puzzle pieces, so like any puzzle, you want to put them back together. Let's see what we got. So this is probably a good place to introduce myself, and who I am, why I'm doing this, what's the point of this. So first, the name, Just Nuke It. So that stemmed from when I was making a name for Halo 2, and I wanted a name that wasn't had nothing to do with guns, because I'm like, oh, everybody's gonna have like boom headshot and all that stuff. So I decided, hey, I'm gonna be different and pick a different name, and I came up with Just Nuke It, because my motto was, why use guns when you can just nuke it? I was also 19 at the time, so wasn't thinking too clearly, but it's made sense to me at the time, and it kind of stuck. So you can't fault me for that. So basically, my background is I'm currently 27. I grew up around the N64 time, but I had an NES before that, and I really sucked at the original Super Mario. I don't know what it was. I was just terrible at it, and to this day, like, you can ask anybody, if I try to play it, it's just a train wreck. So don't expect any playthroughs of like NES or Super NES titles. I'll get my brother's girlfriend to do it. She's much better. Okay, so it looks like we're missing 2 pieces. We can go back in the world and get them later, but let's move on to the next world. So there's kind of a story. Talks about Tim and the princess. Basically, the main thing is he lost the princess and he wants to get her back. And in the way the story kind of goes, it's kind of convoluted. It's kind of like poetry, where it's kind of up to interpretation. But the main goal is you're going through these worlds to try to rescue the princess. So if you want to read a story, I would say get Braid yourself. I'm more focused on doing the gameplay aspect. But it's a really good story. You'll definitely see at the end why. So we'll just skip through those and go right to Time and Mystery in the pit. So same thing as before: age jump, X reverses time. But this one has a little different thing to it. So I kill this guy, and I have this green thing now, and I'm like, oh no, I'm stuck in a pit. But it's okay. Green items reversed with you. They're not stuck with the time. So that's pretty cool. So that makes this world pretty unique. Haha, I opened it. So yeah, so personal background, 27. Been playing games for years. I really say I really got into gaming around the Nintendo 64. My first game was Mario 64. It was the only present we got for Christmas that year, and I do not regret that at all. It was definitely it was definitely an awesome gift, and I'm just so glad that I got it. So I don't know, it just changed for me, like, how to look at games, because like I said before, I was playing N64 games. They were kind of cool. Or NES games. They were kind of cool in a weird way, but they just didn't stick with me as much as N64 games. Like Super Mario 64, to this day, I still remember it. It just has a special place in my heart, and has really just is the reason why I got into games. And then beyond that, just any game that was on the N64, I really remember. And it was just, I don't know, it's like Wave Race 64, which, looking at it now, it was probably a terrible racing game. But when I played it, it was just like so revolutionary. It's like, oh my god, racing on water, look at these water physics, there's waves. I must have put so many hours into that with just me, and then my brother and stepbrothers. and so many games. Let's see. So Mario 64 was the first one. Wave Race was the second one, and I think that was probably the same for a lot of people. But obviously, the one for Nintendo 64 that really sticks out for me was Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. It was funny. I actually didn't get into the game at first because it just, I don't know, it just didn't, I don't know, it looked weird. It was just like this giant outworldly thing. You know, there was weird characters and stuff, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to play this. And then one day, one of my friends were like, oh man, you have to play this game. And I'm like, alright. And I played it, and it was amazing. So, I definitely do not regret that decision. So yeah, Super Mario was, you know, my first Super Mario 64 first big game, and then Legend of Zelda just like blew everything else away. Alright, so some of these puzzles are tricky, and I'm getting there now. The best part about the green things is they go backwards, but I don't. Yeah, so the reason why Legend of Zelda just to this day just sticks into my mind is just the fact that it was an open world. Everything was like connected together. Yeah, there was loading screens between switching worlds, but at the time it seemed like this legitimately went from one level to a next, and it made sense. Like there was an overworld, and I never played the original Zelda, so I know there's overworlds in those, but at the time I didn't really see that. Oh, I got killed. Stupid bunnies. Okay, so there's one of these puzzles. Out. So I'm trying to get the little green guy to come over this way while I reverse time. There we go. Whew! Alright, got through that one. That was fun. Let's not do that again. Oh god, bunnies! Death's the bunnies! Oh god. Alright. Do not ask me why the bunnies meow, but for some reason they meow. go. Whew. That was close. So the ultimate question, which I think most people would ask, is why am I doing this? Like, what is the point of me making videos or whatever? And that basically breaks down to been playing video games for a while. It's definitely been a passion of mine. You know, I consider myself part of the video gaming community for a while, and it's just, you know, this is kind of how I give back, and kind of the other reason, and I don't want like sob stories and stuff like that, so I just kind of, I'm going to. I told myself before I made this channel I would talk about this as little as possible. But basically, I was taking care of my mom this year. She passed away in April. And during that time, I had video game videos to keep me company. Things that made me laugh. Like, you know, watching like C-Nanners or Chill Chaos or Eat My Diction. They were hilarious to me. And it gave me something to laugh about in a time in my life that wasn't very laughable. So, you know, just because I remember those days and what that meant to me and everything like that, it just, I feel like this is just a way for me to, I don't know, release or feel good about myself. Yeah, so those are a few reasons why I'm doing this, and I don't know, it's just fun.